Okay, so real quick things about our compensation plan that are unique to us. One, clients and coaches pay the same price for products. We talked about that last. We're not a wholesale buying club. If I had made in the comp plan one switch and said, you can buy your products at 20% discount if you become a coach, we'd have 150,000 quote coaches, but we'd still have the same number of people actively coaching as we do today. So that's a very, and there was reasons why that I did that, and one of them was so that there wouldn't be any manipulation. We want people to coach who want to be coaches, period. You don't have to be sick to be a doctor, right? Okay. And so as a coach, you always are the client of your sponsor, which means, and the integrity part of that is that, you know, and by the way, as a sponsor, it's still your role to help people, to coach them on their health journey. But it's like that, when I look, sometimes people think, well, they're going to be really clever and they're going to purchase their fuelings under their daughter's name or their dog's name, right? And that's just, everybody knows it. And, it's like part of it's the golden rule, right? I mean, if somebody's supporting you in giving you their time and walking with you on their journey, then you should, Mary and I order Optavia products every single month. I go to Dr. A's website. He's my sponsor. I order from him. And that's the way that it was designed in the comp plan. So clients and coaches that you enroll or sponsor are on your first level. We'll call that level 1 for the compensation purposes. So any revenue that's generated from those orders is called frontline volume, FLB. Commissions on your frontline volume are paid weekly, as you know. So they gather up all the orders in the week and they pay you on the following Thursday. For all of our bonuses, they're based on a full month, so you get paid on the 15th of the following month for because a lot of it has to do with you reaching certain ranks. So at the end of the month, they do all just all the books, and they say, well, you're at this rank, so you deserve this bonus, and that bonus is paid on the 15th of the month. And this is a real-time plan, meaning that you get paid based on what you've done for this month. So if, for example, you went out and signed up 17 people this month and became an executive director, but next month you had 10 orders, you wouldn't be paid at executive director at that 31%. You'd be paid whatever your volume is, because it's paid, you get paid based on what you do on that given month. And if we didn't have that, the company would go bankrupt, right? Because we pay people based on what they do. So there are 3 progressive ways that you earn, and they correspond with the 3 competencies, right? Okay. And one is you get paid for your coaching, your client efforts. You get paid for your business coaching efforts and that's based on the revenues of anybody in your business who is not yet an executive director, which is called your non-executive director teams, right? And then when you develop executive directors, you get paid on the business leader income. So it's based on revenues generated by executive director teams, not only the ones that you sponsor, but the ones that they sponsor. And that's where the real power of this comp plan is. And it's analogous to other businesses out there in that, you could be a personal trainer and just have a clientele of clients that you are, working with in their personal training, or you could create a fee structure and bring on board other personal trainers to support a bigger group of clients. Or you could have a gym, or you could create a chain of gyms if you want to. So, our business kind of works, in that, if you look at all 3 of these analogies, say in the medical industry or restaurateurs, you can have a standalone, you could have a small group of franchises in a town, or you could have, a multi-international network, or chain of restaurants. And how you want to play is up to you, right? But you have that upside. So when we look at the first bucket of money, there's three major areas you make money there. There's the first 30-day client acquisition bonus in your first 30 days, which is $100. If you develop $1,000 and if a brand new coach develops $1,000 worth of revenue with 5 clients in their first 30 days, they get another 100. You got 15 to 31% compensation for coaching clients. That's both your client support commissions and your bonuses. And then we have consistency bonuses. So real quick, I just mentioned this, the first 30-day acquisition bonus. This is going to be reviewed for everybody. 5 frontline clients in your first 30 days, $1,000 in frontline volume, you get $100. And by the way, your sponsor gets a matching bonus called the assist bonus of $100. So you can earn one CAB bonus, but you can earn multiple assist bonuses as you bring new coaches on board. Okay, so what about your client support commissions? Well, if you have less than $1,200 in frontline volume and less than 5 clients, you're going to be paid a base of 15%. And in all cases, every coach can be certified, which I'd recommend you do. You get a 3% raise. And that certification comes from Villanova University. It's an online course, and it doesn't take you that long to do. It's definitely worth doing. Once you have 5 clients and you generate in between 1,200 and 2,400, you're at 20 or 23%. And as you can see, I don't need to go through it all. You can see that the maximum that you earn is 31% when you're generating 6,000 in frontline volume. So what does that look like? Well, 5 clients, based on about a $300 order in a month, that's $345, 15 about 1,200, 25 about 2,300. Now, so here's the first quiz for you, okay? So if you were sleeping, wake up. And here's what I'm going to ask you. Okay, you got a coach A. He's got 4 clients in 1,300 volume. What percentage would he be at? Coach B has 5 clients, same volume. What percent would they be at? You have a certified coach with 5 clients in 1,300. Where percent would they be at? Somebody just scratched the screen. And you've got a certified coach with 15 clients in 4,000. What percent would they be at? And a certified coach with 25 clients in 7,000. Where would they be at? So take a minute to just look at that. And I want you to think about it, because if we go back to that previous chart, here's what happens. Okay. Because they have less than 5 clients, even though they're over $1,200, they're at 15%, and they're not certified. Coach B has 5 clients, so they're making 5% more because they have that 5th client. They're a senior coach, and they have 5 clients, so they're going to get another 5%. And that's why every month you want to make sure that not only that you are, if you're close to a threshold where you're going to get a pay increase, you want to make sure you hit it, or you look down through your organization, make sure the people on your teams, as when you go down through your organization, you might have somebody else say, for example, at 1178 in frontline volume, and they got 4 clients. Well, if they got a small order, push them over 1,200, they become a senior coach, and they get a 5% raise. So it makes it worth it then. Now, Coach C has the same 5 clients, but they're certified. So they can make another 3%. So think about that. Coach A has 1,300 in volume, but 4 clients and not certified. Coach C has 1,300 volume, but is certified and has 5 clients. There's 8% difference in their pay. And on 1,300 times 8% is $100. So that's why it's important that you keep track of that. Coach D would be 4,000, so they'd be at 27% because they're certified, 24 plus 3. And Coach E is executive director, and they're certified, so it'd be 28 plus 3. So if you look at the incomes, that's the difference in income. So I just kind of keep you a little fresh. I know we haven't had much interaction today, so I appreciate you still staying with me through this process, but I really want you guys to get this today because it's going to make a difference at the end of this morning when we go into some of the other training. Consistency bonuses are real simple. You have to have a minimum of 2,000 in frontline volume in a month to start the qualification process. It's a 3-month process. So as soon as you hit 2,000, the flag goes up and says you're in qualification for a consistency bonus. As long as you're at least over 2,000 for the next 2 months, you're going to get one. As long as you're certified, you have to be certified too. So what happens is you add up those 3 months, as long as you're over 2,000, then you divide by 3 and it'll give you your average. So if the average is between 2,000 and $39.99, it's a $250 bonus. If it's over between 4,000 but under 6,000, it's a $500 bonus. And if it's over 6,000, it's a $1,000 bonus every 3 months, and which is pretty significant. Think about that. Think about in your job. If every 3 months your boss came around and just gave you a little envelope with $1,000 on it, you'd probably be pretty excited. So again, we got to put this in relative terms. This is your business. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is add up I'll provide this for you in the back on the Facebook page, so you have this little worksheet. But essentially, what this says is that if you have 20 to 25 clients, and let's say you're generating $6,000 in volume, that would be $1,860 at 31%, which would give you $22,000 a year in income. Plus, you're qualifying for $4,000 consistency bonuses, which means your income for that year would be $26,000. Think about that. Servicing just 20, 25 clients. And again, they're not all new clients in a month. You have existing clients, and then, that are in different phases of their health journey. But that's think about it. If you could get a $26,000 raise this year in your job, you'd probably be having a celebration tonight, right? And this just goes to show you, as your frontline volume increases, the number of clients increases, and obviously your income is going to increase. So that's income number one. How are we doing time-wise? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Right now, I'm going to break for a minute to give it, because we've gone an hour, and we're doing pretty good. There's still a bit yet to go, but I'm going to get through the comp plan, and then we're going to get into connecting those dots. Okay, so I'm going to go back, share my screen, and we'll go from there. Okay, we can talk about business income here. Okay, so here we go. So let's talk about business coach compensation, and this is the income that you earn on your teams that are not yet executive director teams. So there's 5 team growth bonuses. There's a fully integrated business coach bonus, and then the assist bonus, which we've already talked about. Okay. And so this is the second bucket of money. This is where you've increased your competency. So here's the ranks for non-executive directors. Obviously, an OPTAVIA coach, a senior coach, a manager, associate director, and a director. And you want to yourself walk up those steps to becoming ED as soon as possible, but also to empower and support people on your team to get them to see that picture and also want to do the same thing. So in our business model, there's really a couple business blocks that we look at. One is senior coach. That's the business block of business coaching. And the other is executive director, which is the building block of business leading. Okay. So essentially, a senior coach has to have, by the way, any bonus that you earn at the end of the month, you have to be a senior coach or higher to earn it. So to reach senior coach, you have to have $1,200 in group volume. A lot of people think it's frontline volume, but it's group volume. And that volume has to come from 5 ordering entities. Basically, an ordering entity is an individual that places an order that leads back to you either directly, it could be somebody you personally sponsor, or it could be somebody on your team. So in these configurations, you could have 5 clients, you could have 5 coaches, you could have a combination of coaches and clients that place orders, or you could have orders placed below a coach that didn't have an order. okay, and so forth. So that's that. So just understand it's $1,200 in group volume coming from 5 separate entities. That's senior coach. Now, to qualify up to, in the business coach setting, what we're doing is we're moving from senior coach up to executive director. And the way that works is you get 1 point for every $1,200 in frontline volume, and you get 1 point for every senior coach team that you have. So if you have, when you have 5 points, you become an executive director. So there's a lot of different combinations that you can use to get there. If you did 6,000 in frontline volume, divided by 1,200 is 5 points. So if you just had clients and you generated $6,000 in revenue, that's 5 points. By the way, that's 17 clients today. It's actually easier. It takes fewer clients to become an executive director today than it did with Kelly when you got involved or when I got involved, because the products were, it took more orders to get to 6,000. So just keep that in mind. And then you could have 5 senior coach teams. You get 1 point for every senior coach team or higher. That would give you 5 points. Or there's this blended path in between. You could do 4,800 and 1 senior coach, 3,600 and 2, 2,400 and 3, and so forth. Some people say, well, is there an advantage to going one way or the other? My point is, get to ED as soon as possible. I don't care how you get there. Quite honestly, I don't. Get there as fast as you can, because that's when you're going to start to maximize the comp plan. Okay. Now, when you have when you've sponsored health coaches and those health coaches are generating revenue, they're going to fall at a rank anywhere between health coach and executive director, right? So depending on your rank and depending on their rank will determine how much money you earn on the revenues generated in that health coaches team, that Optavia coaches team. So for example, if you are an executive director and you have somebody sponsored who's a health coach, and let's say that health coach has 2 or 3 orders, and those orders amount to $1,200 or $800. Remember, on the client support commissions, they're making 15% or 18%, depending upon whether they're certified. But you, on their business, the company's going to pay you 12% of that. Now, when they reach senior coach, okay, then what happens is they're getting that senior coach bonus. So you're going to make 8% on them, on that group volume. So it could be, you might have a health coach that's got, let's say they've got 6 or 7 clients and they're generating $1,800 in revenue or $1,600 in revenue. You're going to make 8% on that. And as you can see, as they grow, they're making more money on their business. You're making a smaller percentage, but it's on a bigger business. The idea is for you and them to go executive director as soon as possible, okay? So if you look at this basically says if you've got a manager here, the manager has a senior coach and both of them have frontline volume, what that says to you is that you're going to earn 6% on that group. You look at the chart, you're an executive director, they're a manager, you're earning 6% on the revenues that are coming out of that business. And so that's how that works. Now, some people ask, well, what is a fully integrated business coach? Well, a fully integrated business coach is somebody that has both, at least, well, they're certified number 1. They have at least $6,000 from orders in their frontline, from clients and coaches. They have at least 5 senior coach teams, and their overall group volume, that means their frontline volume and the volume from their non-executive director teams, is at least 15,000. So when you become a FIBIC, a fully integrated business coach, you're going to earn $1,000 bonus every 3 months. So it's another $1,000. So think about that. If you're already earning $1,000, if you're running 6,000 in frontline volume, you're earning $1,000 on the consistency bonus. And if you add to that 5 senior coach teams, you're going to earn another $1,000. That's $8,000 in bonuses every single year. Okay. So here's another thing just to clear up. This illustration shows an integrated executive director. They have at least 6,000 frontline volume. That's the green things represent clients. And they have 5 senior coach teams. They are not a fully integrated executive director. They're an integrated executive director. Their structure is a fully integrated business coach. Okay. There's no such thing as a fully integrated national or fully integrated global or fully integrated presidential. That's not their title is integrated national, regional, global, integrated presidential. But their structure is either FIBIC or FIBIC. Okay. That's, as a comp plan designer, that's a little pet peeve of mine. Okay. Now, hypothetical business coach income. Let's say here's an executive director that has 5 senior coach teams. And if you notice, the income from that's only $600, right? You could be an executive director and make $600. But that's assuming you only have five clients and they're all senior coaches, right? So that would be kind of the minimum that you could make, right? And the idea is when you start to sponsor people, as those businesses grow, that's when this, you'll see in a minute, that the income just explodes if you do this the right way. So here is our fully integrated business coach. It's an integrated executive director who has 25 clients and has 5 senior coaches. Well, their income now is $3,600 a month. Okay, so you want to do both. You go senior coach as quick as you can. You go to ED as quick as you can, and then you become a FIBIC as quick as you can, because that's when you're starting to really maximize the comp plan. Now let's go to the third way of making money. It's called business leader comp. And there are two forms of income here. This is the income that you earn from your executive director teams and your overall organization. So you're functioning at a higher competency level because you're doing more training, more support, and you're doing more leadership stuff, right? So it's for advanced kind of business building and leadership developments. But there's 2 bonuses here. One of them is, well, what I'm drawing out here is an integrated global director that has 5 frontline generation 1 EDs and then has 40 on their team. And I'm going to show you how this plays out in terms of income. So your generation bonus basically says that you, when you have 1 to 2 executive director teams and they kind of break away from you, you're making about 2.5%, or you're making 2.5% on those teams until you become an integrated regional. Because when you develop an ED, you go from executive director to regional director. When you become integrated regional director, you are allowed not only to earn 2.5% on the generation of the executive director the first executive director under you, but you're also getting 2.5% on their first generation executive director, your second generation. And as you can see, as you move wider in terms of the number of executive directors that you develop, and if you actually earn your integrated designation, the compensation plan enables you to get paid down through as many as 6 generations of executive directors, which could be enormous. In the case of a integrated global, they get paid down through 5. So we want to look over here at at what they're over here. This is they have
Dan,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. In the chat, we're just noticing that when we got to this point, when you moved into the leadership, that everybody's feeling a little bit overwhelmed and like deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't need to know all of it to do it, but maybe you could speak to all of them. There's a lot of folks feeling like, okay, got the first one too, and now it's like, oh boy.
Okay, so I'm just going to say, trust me, because that's next. Sorry, I'm eating something. This is my fueling time. So here's why that's next. Oh, by the way, let's go back for a second. When you're a regional director, you're an executive director with 1 or 2 teams. You're going to earn, so what has happened here? You brought somebody into the business, you hung in there with them, trained them, supported them, did 3-way calls, did all that stuff, and now you've helped them become an ED. Now let's say the average ED is running about $15,000 or $16,000 in group volume. So let's say they're making, and that's their frontline volume and the volume of the coaches they've sponsored. So let's say they're making $2,500, $3,000. They haven't paid you anything. the company is going to pay you 2.5% on their group volume. So their group volume is 15,000 times 2.5%. That would, let's see, that would be 250 and 120. That'd be $375. So again, this goes back to this concept people have about, well, I don't want people working for me. What do you mean? Who helped who here? You brought somebody in, had no clue. You taught them, trained them, support them. They never paid you a cent. The company paid you to develop them. They're now making $2,500, $3,000 a month. Thank you very much. And the company's going to pay you ongoing on that business if they're at 2.5%. It's not bad, because once they've established that ED business, you're spending less time in their business. It becomes part of a equity bill, right? So those people that had the deer in the headlights, let me help you out here, right here, okay? And I could have done this step by step, which would have been more illustrative, but it would have taken a little bit longer. But let's look at this. So let's say you're this integrated global. You have 5 personally sponsored executive directors. If the average volume is 15,000, 5 times 15,000 is 75,000. On Gen 1, you make 2.5%. So on that generation, your income is $1,875. So let's say those people sponsor some people, right? That's your generation 2, their generation 1. And let's say on that level, you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 times 15,000 is $135,000 in revenue. You're making 2.5% on that. So on that generation, the company's paying you $3,375. Let's say they each replicate themselves and have one ED. There's $135,000 in that generation, but as you move down in generation, it goes 2.5, 2.5, 2. So you make 27% on that one, or 2,700 on that one. Then on Gen 4, I said that each one of them replicated themselves, so it's another 135,000, and you're going to get paid 2% on that. That's $2,700 there. And then on Gen 5, I said there are 2, 4, 6, 8 EDs on that generation at 15,000, 120,000. You make it 1.5% on that. That's 1,800. So when you look at what you're earning on that third bucket right there, remember there's 2 forms of compensation as a business leader, but just on your ED generation bonus, you're making almost 12,500 a month there. So then we have to also consider the fact that you're going to be earning a leadership bonus. So the way the leadership bonuses are paid, that we pay one at national, one at global, and one at presidential, and they overlap. It enables you to go deeper in your organization than your generation bonuses. And so as a presidential, you're making 1.5% additional on your entire business. Actually, up to. So if you look at this integrated global, they're going to get the national and the global bonus, which is a total of 1% more on their business. So if we look at their group volume, that adds about 6,300 to their 12,400. This means on that third bucket, on that structure, that person's making $18,700. So if we add it all up, we say from bucket 1, they're handling quite a few clients. They're running $12,000 in frontline volume. That's $4,000 a month they're earning there. And I'm added in there the consistency bonuses. Their second way of making money on their non-executive director teams, I said they would have 8. In this case, they would have 8 active senior coaches. They'd have 7 senior coaches or higher, plus their 5 ED legs. And I said that, just figuring out by rule of thumb, I have about $2,500 a month there. And then you add the bucket 3, that means that integrated global director is making about $25,000 a month. That's $300,000 a year. So to make that $300,000, you go, oh God, that's a lot of money, some people would say, right? Looks like a lot of revenue. Yes, it is. But the way I look at it is, it's 40 people. It's 40 people who want to be ED. You know 40 people in the United States that would like to make another $3,000 or $4,000 a month? Probably you do. Let's go find them. Okay, so now we're going to talk about strategy. There's two basic strategies that somebody can start out with a business. They can be standalone, where they focus primarily on clients, or they can be in our expansion mode where they have clients and they're also sponsoring coaches. It gives you a lot of flexibility. I mean, if you're interested in developing a larger income, obviously, the green circle is the one you want to choose. And you're going to reach more people that way because the business goes beyond you. But initially, even if you were in an expansion mode, just like I showed you with that integrated executive director, initially you'll make more money on your client business than you will on your health coach business. But as I showed you in the integrated global illustration, as your business grows, you make a whole lot more money on the back end of the comp plan. So let's look at, if you look at client-focused business, the primary focus is obviously to acquire and support clients. And because our comp plan pays out pretty generous, it's pretty generous, you can readily ramp your income up by adding clients. And that enables a lot of people in our business to go full time because they can, start supporting 25, 30, 40 clients. And for some people, that's enough for them to jettison their full-time job and be full-time if that's what they want to do. But there is a limit to number one, because all your income is dependent upon your ability to produce. You have some residuals with people reordering even after they get to their healthy weight as we transition them. But your limit is that you can only support so many clients. So strategy two, working with clients and sponsoring coaches, helps you not only create great cash flow, but also to help you to develop a long-term business. And by team building, basically team building is simply the act of building organizations of health coaches, right? And bringing them into the business and teaching them what you know how to do. So I'm going to talk more about team building in another session when we go into sponsoring coaches and working depth and all that good stuff from the transactional side. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is utilizing leverage. And I kind of alluded to this earlier when I was talking about time and money. Robert Kiyosaki's book, The Business School, he had these 4 quadrants, right? And if you look at the maroon side there, so if you're an employee or if you're self-employed, very often the way you make money is you trade time for money. Whereas if you're a business owner, which we all are, or if you're an investor, you can leverage other assets besides your own time to earn additional income. And when we get into team building, I'm going to talk about the principles of duplication, why that's so significant. Okay. But if you look at a parallel industry, it's not quite the same. But if you look at franchising, and of course our nemesis is the McDonald's, but I used it as an example anyway. If you think about Ray Kroc started with one restaurant. He bought the McDonald brothers out, right? And he licensed and franchised it and took it all over the world. Fred DeLuca did that with Subway. There's like 34,000 Subways around the world today. And but as soon as if you have a facility like a fast food chain and it's open 12 hours a day, as soon as you have 3 of them, you have more than 24 hours in your day. And what Ray Kroc did, his philosophy wasn't, I own a restaurant. A lot of people have single restaurants that they operate in. It's kind of like a health coach having their own clients, right? But he didn't look at himself as owning a restaurant. He looked at himself as owning a chain of restaurants, where he multiplied his time and became extraordinarily wealthy. Of course, spread obesity all across the planet, which we're now coming back and trying to rectify. But that was his business model. So that if you think about that, there's a similarity between that and what we do. Now, I kind of coined this cute little phrase called a micro franchise. We're not a franchise. Franchise is certain specific laws that define what a franchise is, and we are not a franchise. But it's useful to look at building teams of health coaches, and business leaders as a kind of micro franchise, where the basic unit Like in a franchise, the basic unit is the building. Excuse me. The basic unit in our franchise, our micro franchise, is a health coach who's serving anywhere from 5 to 25 clients, right? Senior coach to ED or higher. And when you start thinking of that from a duplication perspective, it's pretty significant. Okay. So when you understand that our business model in this light, when you think of what Ray Kroc did, and you think, well, I have that same potential without having the brick and the mortar and having to worry about all the employees, I get to do this out of my house. That's pretty awesome. It's pretty exciting that you can, a lot of you guys that are on this call this morning, you're EDs and up, you're running $1 million a year businesses. You probably not thought about it that way. If you're running an $83,000 a month business, you're running $1 million business and you're running it out of your house. I mean, it's awesome that we can do this without employees, on our own time, anywhere in the world, and yet he'll be able to produce the kind of revenues. And I know for some people, there's that disconnect there because they're used to conventional business, and they think of a business owner as somebody's got a building somewhere with a sign up somewhere. But in Optavia, the people that support the business work out of Owings Mills and now out of Baltimore in that new facility, and at the warehouses we have. So they actually have a paycheck. They come to work every day and they're conventional. But us, we're driving the business as coaches, and we're able to multiply ourselves throughout the land and eventually internationally. So we can simplify our business basically by looking at it this way: reach senior coach, reach ED, and then develop teams of EDs. We really want to take it down to the nub. Hit senior coach, go ED as fast as you can, develop teams of EDs. That's how the compensation plan is rewarding you.